Okay, so if you go to the week 4 folder and click on the assignment for today, you should see something that looks like this. Okay, so this is the link that I'm talking about. So make sure you use the Nearpod link that goes with it to help you be able to work out these problems with the attempt. So when you click the attempt, you'll see this. All right, and these are the problems we're going to go through. Okay. All right, so make sure you click that link first before you do anything else. Let's see here. So with the Nearpod link, you should see something that looks like this. All right. I will edit the the Schoology link so that it's right at top of on top of the instructions for today, so it's a little easier to find if you're doing this later. So we're going to be doing a lot of these are going to be draw-ins, so we're going to be able to draw on here. All right, so that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for.
Mr. P.
Yeah.
What you on right now on your screen? That is not what's on my screen. I do not see that.
What this?
Oh, this is Nakaya.
Yeah. All right. So you should be in
week 4, right?
Week 4, and says monohybrid dihybrid practice problems.
Okay, hold on, because I think that's my number. Let me go back to that. Okay. Why do? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Week 4, heredity and genetics folder, right?
Correct.
Okay, and it say monohybrid, whatever, dihybrid.
Practice.
And then it say it got 2 links. It got 2 videos, but I clicked the M one.
Hold on. All right, so we're doing the practice problems here today.
Hey, Ma. Hey.
So when you click on this one right here, that's where we're going to be. So you can follow along on the Nearpod too, just to help you work out the problems. And that's where I'm going to be at. So when you open that up, you should see this.
Hold on, let me come back to the phone.
All right.
Okay.
So you click on it, you should see this.
Hold on. I just missed the whole thing. I was not on the screen. Let me go back to this. Let's see. No. You talking about on Ed Puzzle, right?
No, we're not on Ed Puzzle right now.
Okay, so what? Do I need to refresh my screen or something? Because everything.
Possibly.
The next one, it says it's due on the 26th, and it say it's practice problems.
Yeah, that's the one you should have open.
Okay, let me see, because it just says, so press, okay. Let me see. That's what it was, because at first that wasn't on my screen, so I refreshed it.
Gotcha.
Press continue the website, right?
Yes. You want to go to the website and then have the practice problems open on another screen or like another tab.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I got it.
All right. Okay. All right. So the first question you should see talks about a plain spider is crossed with a homozygous pattern spider. The patterned allele is dominant to the plain allele. What is the percentage that the offspring from this cross would be expected to be patterned? So the patterned allele here is what we're going to start with. The patterned allele is dominant. So that means that This is going to be uppercase. We're going to call this uppercase P for pattern, for dominant. And the plain allele, we're going to use a lowercase p. I'm going to put a little tail on it. Is recessive. So what percentage of this cross would be expected to be patterned? So a plain spider is crossed with a homozygous pattern spider. So remember, homozygous means two of the same zygotes, which are these things, two of the same alleles. So what you're going to be doing is a plain spider is a recessive allele. So in order for a plain spider to show up, you would have to have two lowercase p's. And for the pattern spider, you would either have to have two uppercase p's or one uppercase p and then one lowercase p. Now, the question says homozygous pattern. So that means that if you're homozygous, you're going to have two of the same alleles. So we're going to start, I put that up top. So we're going to have a homozygous pattern here. That should be an uppercase P, uppercase P. Because that's homozygous. That means both of the alleles are the same, either capital or lowercase. Pattern spider has been determined to be dominant. So that's why I know it's two uppercase. Next, it's going to be bred with a plain allele. The only way that this spider would have a plain back would be to have two lowercase p's. So two recessive genes. So we're going to put that here. It's a lowercase p. It's a bad lowercase p. My lowercase p's have tails, so I'm going to make a little tail on it. Lowercase p. So when you do this cross, you're going to have this, the p up here. All right, the p up here is donating 1p. And then the p from the plain allele is donating 1 as well. All right, so let's see here. So this would be 1p like this, and one little p like that. One like this, uppercase, and then this one comes over, one lowercase. One uppercase, drops down here, and this one slides over here. So this is going to be a lowercase p. We have an uppercase p, and we have a lowercase p. So this is what your cross looks like when you're done. So the question asks, what percentage of the offspring cross would be expected to be patterned? So expected to be patterned. Pattern is dominant. So a pattern spider will either have a homozygous dominant or heterozygous P like that. All of these will show a pattern spider. So that's 4 out of 4 possibilities that there'd be a pattern spider. So the answer for this one would be 100%. So transfer that over and click question for question 1. All right. For question 1, there's your answer. So click that in. That's why the Nearpod goes well with the practice problems, is because you can actually work it out, and some of these you're going to need to actually work them out. So 100% of the offspring will be a pattern spider. All right, question 2. All right, so you can, so I do want to let you guys know that this is a self-paced Nearpod. So what I'm working on my screen, you can move forward or ahead. If you're getting this, you understand this, you can move on to the next slide and you can work ahead of me. But I'm just going to be going at this pace so that if anyone needs help or needs to see the examples, they can. All right. So up next, in garden pea plants, the tall allele T is dominant and the short allele T is recessive. And the round seed allele is capital R is dominant to the wrinkled seed, which is a lowercase r. Which of the following crosses will produce a plant with short P and wrinkled seeds? So this is a dihybrid cross because it talks about two traits. And whenever we have two traits, it's a dihybrid cross. So from the last one we just did, that was a monohybrid cross, so your regular Punnett square, because we're only talking about the pattern of the spider. We're not talking about any other traits of that spider. So for this one, you're talking about two separate traits, so we need a dihybrid cross. So here are your options over here. So we're going to go through these options one by one. Okay, so what you're going to be looking for is which of the following crosses would produce a short pea plant with wrinkled seeds. So you want a short plant with wrinkled seeds. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put what we're looking for up here. So in order to have a short pea plant, wrong one. In order to have a short pea plant, all right, it says tall is dominant and short is recessive. So the only way that the short phenotype shows up would be with a homozygous recessive genotype. So that means you'd have two lowercase t's. So T, T times, all right, that's the first part, is short P with wrinkled seeds. So wrinkled is also recessive, so you would need two little r's. So this right here are the genotypes we're looking for. Now, if you watched the video from yesterday, it taught you how to do these. So it uses the FOIL method, which is what I put over here. So the FOIL method, just like math class, unfortunately, talks about pairs that you put up here and the pairs that you put on the side. So for the first one, it's the first. So you do H and S. We'll go here. So for us, that's T and R right here. That's the first. So we have, let's see, capital T, capital R. Next, we have the outside, first outside. So we have capital T, lowercase r. And then we have the inside one, so that would be lowercase t, capital R. And then the last would be lowercase t, lowercase r. So now for the next pair, you're going to do again, first, outside, inside, last. So these are all going to be the same, because the first one is capital T, capital R. The second one would be same thing. So the first outside would be T and R again. Oops. This last one would be another T and R, inside, and last. All right, now what you would do is you would take one from this side. So you take the T from this side and the T from that side, and you put them in the box. So this first box would be, I'm actually going to, let me change these colors real quick. I'm just doing this so that the colors are different, so it might make it a little bit easier to understand. So I should change I'm going to change this color to blue. And remember, they're all the same. TR. TR. All right, so first you pair the T's together because you can't have a T and an R pairing. All right, so this T will come over here and be in this box. So in each box across the row is going to have the T from this row here. So I'm going to put a T in each one of those. Then I'm going to have the T from the top parent, this one right here, be distributed into each box going down. So this will be a capital T. This will be a capital T, capital T, capital T. Next, I'm going to do my R's. All right, so this blue R is going to be paired in this box with the R on top. So I have a capital R here. All right, I'm going to have capital R here. All right, so R only pairs with R and T only pairs with T, just so you know. Okay, so then I'm going to take the R from this one and bring it down here. So that tells us right there. So we have TR, TRR. We, in this box, would have a capital R, capital R, capital R. All right, so this should tell you something right away. That's how you go through and you distribute. Now you would go over to this one, and you drop this T down all the way here. So it'd be T in everyone, and then this T would come over across in each one. And you do that for each box. Now, we're looking for this right here. All right, so again, we're trying to find a box that would have lowercase t, 2 recessive t's, and 2 recessive r's. Okay, we're not going to find that because in each box, you have a dominant letter coming across. So you're not going to get either of these. So it is impossible for A to be the right answer because there's no possible way to get a homozygous recessive pairing. All right, so if you look through, all right, and that should be, let's look through and see if we can eliminate any of the other ones that would not give us a homozygous recessive pairing. All right, so in B, for the T's, when you pair with the other T's, the only thing you can possibly have if you have 2 uppercase T's in each set is a homozygous dominant. And that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for 2 lowercase t's to be produced. All right, so that's not possible in this box either. So to save us some time, and you don't have to go through and do this every time, but I'm trying to save you some time to see that you won't be able to produce anything that looks like this up here. Okay, C. We have a heterozygous pairing with the T's and a heterozygous pairing with the second pair of T's. So that could produce what we're looking for, because this T could here could go with this. In one of these boxes, we'll go with the other T there. Next, you have a heterozygous R's and you have a homozygous recessive R's over here. So that will definitely produce 2 lowercase r's. So there is a possibility in C to produce this. All right, and then let's look at D. All right, you have the possibility for T because you have a lowercase r here and a lowercase t, lowercase t. But if you look at the R's, you have 2 homozygous dominant pairings, meaning that it's impossible to produce this homozygous recessive pairing that we're asked to find. So it cannot be D. So the correct answer is C. So the correct answer for 2 is C. I know that's a lot to look through, but I'm trying to show you what to do and save you some time so you don't have to do this on each one. Because to go through and put in T's and R's, T's and R's, T's and R's, that's a lot of work. So I want to try to save you some time. So make sure you're paying attention to the pairings. The T's can only pair with the T's, and the R's can only pair with the R's. So what we did up here in this box here was we coded for a homozygous dominant with plant height with tall and a homozygous dominant with straight seeds or round seeds. So this box here would have been a tall plant with round seeds, which is not what we're looking for up here. I know that one's kind of confusing. All right, so if you didn't get it and you got the question wrong, when I post this video, go back and watch it again, just to kind of help out with that. All right, next. This is question 3. All right, in fruit flies, the coloration, of tan with black stripes is B, dominant, to solid black body color B. A biologist crosses a tan male with black stripes and a female with a solid black color. What are the possible genotypes for the male fruit fly's offspring if the male fruit fly's offspring is uppercase B, lowercase b, which is heterozygous? So let's go ahead and use this box. Here are possibility answers right here. All right, so it's A, B, C, and D. So we have to choose which one of them to be right. All right, so the male, it says here, fruit flies with a tan black there, and then the body, tan male with black stripes. All right, so if a tan male with black stripes means that it has to have a dominant here. So this has to be a B, a capital B. So we need to figure out this other one here. All right, so we don't know this yet, but it's crossed with a female with a, oops, wrong color. It's crossed with a female with a solid black body color. Solid black is recessive. So that means in order for that female to have a solid black body color, it has to have 2 of these alleles. So that means we know this to be true. So now we have to figure out which one of these observations this doctor can make. So the observations will help us fill in this box, because this could be up here, it could be capital B or a lowercase b. We don't know yet. All right, so observation. All of the offspring are black. So the conclusion, the male has 2 recessive alleles. All right, so we don't know that. All right, and all the offspring are black would have to mean that the only way that would happen is if the male was also a solid black body color. Because the only way for a solid black body color to show up would be as if you had two lowercase b's, is the only way solid black body shows up. The tan color can show up if you have a capital B and a lowercase b, or two capital B's. So what are the possible genotypes for the male fruit fly if the offspring was this? So we know that the offspring is going to be heterozygous. All right, so we know it cannot be A. All right, and again, let's see. So now we're looking at the male has two, in each one of these, the male has two dominant alleles. Okay, so let's see. That means that that gives us a hint to let us know that the second allele is B. Because out of the answers that are given to us, in each conclusion, the scientist concludes that it has a homozygous dominant trait. So when we fill out this table now, that helps us fill out B here. It's going to give a B here, B here, and a B here. And then I can go back in and fill out the rest. From the female, it's going to give a recessive allele in each box. All right, now that we have this done and we're able to eliminate this one, it really opens up the problem for us and makes it easy to solve. So we can go through and solve that. Half the offspring are black. All right, now looking at this, we all have heterozygous, which would mean that the offspring would be tan with black stripes. Now, there are no homozygous recessives to show that they would be solid black body color. So we know that anything with black offspring is wrong. So that can't be right either. All the offspring, our next option is all the offspring are tan with black body stripes. That's true. Every one of these possibilities would wind up with a tan with black stripes. So we know this could be it. Or most of the offspring are tan with black stripes. Most meaning not all. And since all of them are tan with black stripes, this cannot be correct. So the correct answer is C. All right, next one. Which genotypes below represent a cross between a heterozygous red pear shaped tomato with a tomato plant that is purebred for red color and round shape? All right, so this is the information we're given. All right, so we want, it says which genotypes below represent a cross between a heterozygous red pear-shaped tomato. Heterozygous, so let's start here. So we don't actually have to do the cross, I believe. So we don't actually have to sit there and do the cross. We're looking for what would the box look like, not what would actually show up inside of it. So in order for it to be a heterozygous, meaning you're going to have one dominant and one recessive allele. Okay, so that means heterozygous red. So that means that the capital R, you'd have capital R and a recessive R. And so that gives us the plant color. So it says heterozygous red, and it needs to be pear-shaped. In this question here, it says pear shape is recessive. So round shape is dominant, pear shape is recessive. So for the pear shape, I would have to have a homozygous recessive trait. There should be 2 lowercase f's. So that is paired with, all right, it wants us to pair with a purebred red color round shape. So purebred is another word, means also like homozygous, whatever that is. So that means that it's not going to have a heterozygous at all. So if it wants a purebred red color and round shape. So the red color fruit is dominant R, so you'd have 2 uppercase R's, meaning that there are no recessive, no carriers in this one. And you want it to have a round shape. So the round shape is also dominant, so that's going to be your capital F's. Oops, that's ugly. All right, and that'll give you your answer right here. Oops, that's not supposed to happen. All right, so this is your answer right here. So select that, and you're done. Again, you don't need to actually go through and do this. All right, that brings us to number 5. 3 more to go. All right, what is the probability that a cross between a red pear-shaped fruit, or red heterozygous red pear-shaped tomato with a purebred red color and round shape will be red with pear-shaped fruit? So it's basically asking in that last question, what is the probability that it'll produce will produce a red pear-shaped fruit? All right, so we're going to look at a cross between. All right, so the first one talks about heterozygous red pear-shaped. So heterozygous is you have 1 capital and 1 lowercase. Pear-shaped is recessive. All right, is paired with purebred red color round shape. All right, so again, purebred means that there are no recessive genes in it. So purebred round, red, and purebred round. Okay, so it's asking you, is there a possibility for a red pear-shaped fruit? So red is dominant and round is dominant. So that means anytime that that's paired with a recessive gene, that phenotype will be what's expressed in the actual fruit. So there's a possibility. I realized I made a mistake. So these are supposed to be F's. Oops. So if you think about it, when these to be pear-shaped, which is what it wants here, it wants to know, is there a possibility that if these two plants were bred together, that there'd be anything pear-shaped there? And if you look at it, no, because this has a dominant, two dominants. This is two recessives. So in every pairing for shape of the plant, it will always be round because the dominant allele will express the dominant phenotype. So this capital F will express a round fruit. All right, when I say express, that means what shows up. And the phenotype, remember, phenotype starts with P, so it's a physical thing. It's something you can see, it's something you can feel. So that will always dominate the recessive phenotype. So there is zero possibility that this red-colored pear-shaped fruit can exist. If these two plants mated, there's no possibility for that outcome. So the correct answer is 0. All right, so those last ones are kind of heavy and dense with information and vocab. So take a deep breath. Okay. All right. Only a few more to go. These are really good examples of what you'll see on Friday. All right. So we're going reviewing today what you'll see on Friday with the whole review, or the whole semester, not semester, but summer session review. So then tomorrow we're going to go over like a whole course review. We try to review everything tomorrow. Okay? So I know it's a lot to take in. All right. So I have a few more to go. And I know it's time to go. So if you do need to go, you can go. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish these up so that there will be a recording that you guys can watch later if you need any help with this. So if you do need to go, that's okay. Just remember that everything is due Friday at 5 p.m. All the grades were updated prior to class starting today. So if anything got turned in after class started, I haven't updated it yet. But I'm missing a lot of ed puzzles and a lot of notes. So make sure you guys get that stuff done. But I am going to continue here until I'm done. And then I'll end class right then and post the video on our YouTube channel so that you guys can watch it again if you need help. All right? Yes.
So for the link for this video, you're saying it's gonna be on YouTube. Is it gonna be in Schoology?
Yeah, so in Schoology, like on the landing page for this class, there's a link that says YouTube channel. When you click on that, it'll take you to a playlist of all the classes that I've recorded, and you can rewatch them if you need to and help you with the assignments.
Okay, well then I'll watch this one when you post it.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this out. So back to the Nearpod. All right, so in humans, the B allele is dominant, capital B, for brown eyes. And the lowercase b is recessive for blue eyes. All right, this is like the question I did with my brothers in my family. Two brothers both have brown eyes, but one of them has both a B and lowercase b alleles, while the other only has B alleles. So which statement is true? Okay, so it says two of the brothers have brown eyes. So the brown eye alleles, all right, if it's brown eyes, it'll either be like this. It'll be homozygous dominant. Homo means the same, so these two are the same capital. Or it can be heterozygous, which is the uppercase B and a lowercase b will give you brown eyes. Now, the only way blue eyes show up is if you have two lowercase b's. So you have a homozygous recessive. So these two code for brown eyes. This is the only thing that will show up for blue eyes. So two of the brothers both have brown eyes, while one of them has both a B allele and a lowercase b allele. while the other two only have B. So which statement is true? So it's saying both of the brothers have brown eyes, but they have different arrangements of alleles. So one brother has this allele and one brother has this allele. So they have the same eye color, which is a physical thing that's called a phenotype. So they're going to have the same phenotype, but since their allele arrangement, which is called a genotype, is different, they're going to have different genotypes. So different genotype, but same phenotype. Okay, so they have the same, so that means there's your answer. Phenotype is a physical representation. It's what's physically shown. Genotype is the arrangement of alleles. So they can have different arrangement of alleles, but it'll come out to the same result, which is brown eyes. So they have the same phenotype, meaning brown eyes. They both the boys have brown eyes. That's true, but they have different genotypes because in this problem it says that one of them has a capital B allele and a lowercase b allele, which is this one. While the other one has this one. C is correct. All right, got a Punnett square, a monohybrid cross. Which of the following statements describes the parental genotypes that would result in this Punnett square? So now, here's that phenotype talk again. All right, the genotype is asking what arrangement of letters. So if we have this arrangement up here, then we can kind of come to a few conclusions. So one allele has to come from the father, and the other allele has to come from the mother. All right, so that means that if this capital A, they both have capital A's in these two boxes. That means that if one comes from the father and one comes from the mother, that means that this one has to be a dominant allele, and this one also has to be a dominant allele. And so does this one. Because that's the only way that these two, let me change these colors again. Just to make sure all right, A. So that's the only way that if the father gives a blue allele, capital A, and the mother gives this green capital A, that this box can be homozygous dominant. And same with this box. So that means this would have to be an A. So because the dad has to give one A here and one A here, so this has to be a capital A. So if the father's also giving a capital A over here, that means in these two boxes you see a recessive gene, a lowercase a. So that means that has to come from the mother. So this is how the mother and the father's genotypes would look. So what result does that give us? So now we're going to look at our answers. All right, so both parents were heterozygous, meaning heterozygous, remember, is one capital and one lowercase. So since the father has two capital letters, that's called homozygous. So this cannot be right. All right, both parents are homozygous dominant. That means they would have the same allele, but the dominant allele. That's true for the father here, but it's not true for the mother because the mother has a recessive gene, so it can't be B. All right, one parent is homozygous recessive and the other is heterozygous. Homozygous recessive would mean that one would have two lowercase letters. Is that true? No. You don't see either parent having both recessive genes, so it cannot be C either. So that leaves us with D. One parent is homozygous dominant, check. And the other parent is heterozygous, check. All right, last one. The ability to roll the tongue is a dominant trait. So you can check that right now. I can roll my tongue. You can roll it in a circle or make waves out of it. All right, you can do that right now. Check to see. That trait is designated with a capital R. The inability to roll the tongue is a recessive trait designated by a lowercase r. So if you cannot roll your tongue in a circle, then you have a recessive trait. So Kathy's mother has the genotype RR, and her father cannot roll his tongue. So what is Kathy's genotype and phenotype? So it's saying what is the order of the letters in her genotype, and is she able to roll her tongue or not? So right here it says we're going to look at the facts. So in here it says the mother has the genotype RR. And then it says the father cannot roll his tongue. So we can go ahead and put in this genotype for the mother, R. And then the father can't roll his tongue. So up here it says the tongue is a recessive trait designated by a lowercase r. In order for a recessive trait to show up, it needs to be homozygous. That means two lowercase r's need to be there. So that means that the father must be lowercase r and a lowercase r. So this is the mother up top and the father on the side. So when you go through, this one is going to be here. The R is going to go here. This R is going to go across. R here. R there. And then I'm going to finish out with the mother. So the mother's R is going to drop down. Run here. One here. And then this R is going to drop down as well. One here. And one there. Now, this tells you something right away. There are no double recessive alleles, meaning that Kathy will be able to roll her tongue because the capital R is dominant, and the dominant ability is to roll your tongue. So if there are any answers that say cannot roll tongue, those are wrong. So let's look. Here's one, and that's one. So Kathy is able to roll her tongue because her mother is homozygous dominant, which will dominate every one of her father's genes because her father can't. So that means that Kathy absolutely can roll her tongue. There's no situation where Kathy cannot roll her tongue. Now, if you look at each pairing, each genotype is heterozygous. So the answer with the heterozygous pairing is right here. That means B is correct. So she is a heterozygous, and she can roll her tongue. Whew. All right. For those of you who stuck around, thanks for sticking around. I understand today was a little bit longer than we normally go, but I know that requires some explaining. So you guys are free to go now. Hopefully you guys are following along and can submit this assignment right away and get it full points for it. So if you have any questions, I know today was a long one, shoot me a message. Let me know what I can help with. And tomorrow we're going to review everything we've covered this month. So again, watch this on YouTube if you need me to repeat anything or you have questions on any of the problems. All right, see you guys tomorrow.